to the set, and actually this particular show is entitled The Youth Connect, where we actually bring you topics on the set. We talk about the meanwhile. Allow me to welcome you onto the show today. Onto the set, I'm actually not alone, as I always we always say that we always come with potential people, and we share a couple of things, ideologies that can actually see that we improve our life, on our lives, or our standards of living as youth. Meanwhile, today our topic is going to basically be on that. So I implore you, just stay tuned and don't move away. It's actually a very beautiful month of 2024 year, and it's the 16th day. Meanwhile, it's a very beautiful one, so don't move away. I always tell you with the same thing, that to join up onto this very show, go on YouTube, type Elkem TV, subscribe, and put on the bell so that you can simply join us. And don't forget to put on your comment immediately when you get into the show and sharing the topic. Briefly, today I'm not alone on two other set. As I told you at the beginning, I have actually come along with three people. We are actually three people on set, and I have the two guests in the house. Madame Doreen is today with us. She's actually a lady, and I'm so optimistic the ladies that have actually joined us right now. I hope that she's going to be sharing a lot with you, and I implore you, in case she shares anything so crucial, pick up the ideology, you see that we move on the same pace. And Kangao is already with us and is in the house. Particularly, is going to be sharing a lot of things. Meanwhile, we employ you to stay tuned and don't move away. It is Elkem TV. So let's move into a short break, commercial break, and when we come back, I'll be giving them an opportunity to introduce themselves. Thank you.
Welcome to Urban Massage Parlor and Spa. Dear customers, we are now open.
Massage is the practice of kneading or manipulating a person's muscles and their soft tissue in order to improve their well-being or health. It is a form of manual therapy that includes holding, moving, and applying pressure to the muscles, tendons, ligaments, and fascia. Massage Parlor, we do this at an affordable price.
Once again, welcome back from that commercial break. And of course, as I told you, the show is called the Youth Connect. Whoever's just joined us, thanks for joining us to this very particular show. My name is Urban Brown. Today onto the set. Meanwhile, as I told you onto the first segment that I am not alone. I've actually come through with some other potential people and my guests in the house. Let me give them this chance to introduce themselves before we proceed with the show. Madam Doreen, you're most welcome to the show, and I employ just to have a word for the viewers of Elkem TV.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. I'm Doreen. I live in Masindi here, and I'm so happy to be here in this program.
Okay, that is so beautiful, and her name is Doreen today. She's on set with us, and actually she's representing the lady or the women or wherever you are youth. She's here to represent you. Meanwhile, as I've told you that I'm not alone onto the set, I'm with Kangao Yeseri. Is also already in the house. Kangao, you're most welcome to Elkem TV, and I employ just to have a word for the viewers of Elkem TV. We'll proceed the show.
Yeah, thank you so much. As you have already introduced me, I'm Kangao, and it's a big privilege always to be back here to deliberate on different issues that are affecting the youths.
It's a very beautiful one. As I told you, those are the people actually that have got onto the set today. We were supposed to be having the male youth counselor also onto the set, but unfortunately I'm so optimistic anytime he'll be joining us up. Maybe what I can forget to remind you that this show is proudly sponsored by Beckham Enterprise, Kabarwana Resort. We also have our colleagues that have actually joined us. That's Life in Safe Driving School. We have Medina Primary School. We have St. Lawrence Primary School and Urban Safe Salon. Actually, those are some of the potential people that say, no, let's do our best to reach out to you at this very juncture of the Youth Connect show. Meanwhile, today we're actually going to look at a specific topic, and our today's topic of discussion is like, what should the youth do to see that we improve or they improve on their standards of living. Basically, that's the topic that we are going to discuss onto the site today. All I implore you, just get onto YouTube, type the word Elkem TV, subscribe and put on the bell, and don't forget to write your comment about this topic. What do you think that the youth have to do to improve on their standards of living? Because actually we have seen a number of things actually coming through, a number of cases is happening due to a number of things that we are going to look about today. So I employ just go there and write your comment. What do you think, like an individual, like a youth, like an adult that's watching Elkem TV right now? What do you think that we need to do to see that we improve on the standards of living? Meanwhile, I'll start with, as I told you, that on my extreme right, she's called Madame Doreen, and she's already with us. As I told you, she introduced herself already, and she's representing the women. So, Madame Doreen, today I want us to look at a very specific topic, as I've talked about already. We want to look at what should the youth do to improve on their standards of living. But basically, before we get into that topic, I want us first to look at the causes that has actually led to a number of the incidences happening to the youth. Before we get into to look at what they need to do, what are the causes that are suppressing the youth from development, from actually improving their standards of living today? What have they not done? Basically, that's what I want to do. What are the main reasons, or what are the main things that are suppressing the youth in the community today to hinder that are hindering their development?
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator.
Yes.
Some of the causes which have led to which have led the youth not to develop in this society. One of it is dropping out of school.
Dropping out of school.
Yes, we know very well that education is really important in our lives today. But most youth, they reach at school and then they just give up. Like, no, I can't continue. I have to stop here. Some of them, it's true, their parents have money, but they just say, we don't want to. We are fed up with school. So that is one reason which has caused the youth to lower their standard of living. Yes.
Okay, that's so beautiful. And actually, you have talked about a very, very, very important point that dropping out of school is also one of the very big challenges that actually hindered the development of the youth into our country, Uganda, or in societies. Kangao, I get back to you. I want to see what is your vision or what is your opinion towards this. What are the causes that you're viewing that have actually led to low development in among youth in Uganda today?
Yeah, like for example, unemployment, lack of proper jobs for the youths has really suffocated their pockets. And when a youth doesn't have money enough to achieve his or her goals, it becomes a very big problem. They become very vulnerable to any influence around them because they are so poor, they can't afford anything right from the basics. And then also peer pressure. We have this class of youths that are somehow having resources available before them. Maybe their parents are able to provide, or for some reason they can afford anything they want. But also we have another class of youths altogether who are just progressing in the wrong direction. For example, maybe they have started clubbing at a very early age, they are frequenting bars, they are spending their life in a very useless way. Perhaps they are on drugs, they are taking alcohol, boozing, so they are basically progressing in the wrong way. Now that class of youths usually influences the other ones that are trying to focus on in life. So peer pressure sometimes can cause these ones who are trying to focus to try and admire the other ones as if they are doing well. So because of that, they end up leaving school. We see examples, for example, especially in campus, in universities. That's where a lot of life is. They call it life. So concentrating at universities is very impossible.
Yes.
If someone is not really determined, he doesn't know where he's coming from, if he forgets the issues affecting his or her family, he can easily be taken up by the peer pressure and the influence that you might find at the universities there. And then the third cause for such a scenario would be growth. You know, youths find themselves in a stage where the body is really undergoing a lot of development, both for girls and boys. And some of these developments, they are natural. Actually, most of them are natural. So they don't really know what to make of these changes.
Yes.
Now they end up being victims of some of these.
It's true.
Like for example, when they are growing, you find the body is now starting to demand for sexual desires. And if someone completely has no proper parenthood, he has no proper guidance, they are likely going to put those desires to a poor use. And usually that results into early pregnancies and the whole thing, they end up into a situation where it is so hard for them to manage and they become unproductive in society.
That's true. Thank you very much, Mr. Kangao, for the good message. Meanwhile, as I told you, I employ just to get into set and type your comment. Let's first move into a short break, and when we come back, we shall begin from there. Just stay tuned, don't move away.
Welcome to Urban Massage Parlor and Spa. Dear customers, we are now open.
Massage is the practice of kneading or manipulating a person's muscles and other soft tissue in order to improve their well-being or health. It is a form of manual therapy that includes holding, moving, and applying pressure to the muscles. 10 price.
Okay, once again, a very good afternoon. My name is Urban Brown. Before we got into the break, actually, as I was introducing this particular show, I told you that I was supposed to be having the male youth counselor onto the set, but unfortunately, he didn't reach in time. But it's of a pleasure that is right here with us. Meanwhile, I just allow me give him an opportunity to introduce himself to the viewers of Elkem TV and have a word as we proceeding as a show. Mr. Jackson, you're most welcome onto the set, and may you have just a word for the viewers of Elkem TV.
Thank you very much. Jackson Mboneraho, my name, as he has introduced. I'm really sorry for the delay. You know, I'm this kind of youth who doesn't necessarily sit down and watch the space. I was caught up by some tasks, site works, but all in all, I want to say thanks to God that I've managed to join up and within the due time.
It is actually a pleasure, viewers of Elkem TV. He is called Jackson Mboneraho, the male youth councillor representing the youth at the district. Meanwhile, today, onto this particular show, before you came in later on, we actually been looking at a specific topic, and we have been seeing that what the causes that have actually hindered development into the youth. So basically, before we go into that, you found us discussing what could be the causes that has actually hindered development in the youth in our country, Uganda, today. So may I have your take onto the causes of that has actually hindered the youth from developing?
In the very first place, I want to say that among the youth is a feature of opportunity discrimination and carelessness. They don't care, they discriminate opportunities. Among others, we have got going and running for things that don't add value. You can talk about if it is Ruatamawale for Masindi, you will find that very many youth, I can say 80% of the population in the pitch will be youth, and the other small percentage will be the other category. So we go for things that will not add value. And if they said there is like learning in that pitch, you will find that youth who will attend will be only like 10%. Therefore, the youth have prioritized non-benefiting ventures than benefiting things. Then we have got other very cause, which is engagements, relationships.
Yes.
Me, I call them the stupid relationships, provided that they are not that serious. Somebody goes for someone, doesn't expect to go into final marriage with that person, but you keep on spending on such kind of a person. Those are stupid relationships. And it goes beyond that level to early burden. Because when the relationship results or yields a fruit of unwanted pregnancy at a tender age, the youth is having a burden of a child.
It is very true.
Without a capacity to maintain. So the little resources that somebody would gather up to make up something that can change somebody's standard of living, all the resources being wasted on caretaking.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Mr. Jackson, it's actually very true when you talked about the relationships. By the way, we've been having a number of instances that have actually come out of relationships. We've seen people actually committing suicide.
Yes.
Killing themselves, taking due to relationships. By the way, it's one of the crucial things. Meanwhile, it's a very good thing that I would actually advise people that are viewing Elkem TV right now, that we have relationship, and being in a relationship is not bad, but we should take care when we get into relationships, in that we avoid these circumstances that may come about. Yes, Mr. Jackson.
I wanted to say,
Mm.
among the youth,
Mm.
we have got other serious issues.
Mm.
Extravagance. Extravagance. You know, people like calling themselves big spenders at the youth. As a youth who is building up, you're already a big spender, really. So, extravagance.
It's true.
You go for expensive things, luxury.
Mm.
Youth always want quick things.
Yes. Mm.
Quick things, actually, they say, is a come, is a go.
Yes.
When you rush for quick things, trust me, they will also perish very fast.
It is true.
So, youth want quick things. So, instead of being kind of patient to hold and possibly come out with something which will last longer, they want quick things. And in a situation where all things coming are not quick, it means most of the youth are eliminated. Then there is the other fact of trustworthiness. Most of the youth are not trustworthy. Whoever can't be trusted in small things, there is no need to trust that person in bigger things. Like, if today you tell me, borrow me like 30,000, I give you 30,000, you disappoint on 30,000. Even if tomorrow you have a deal of 10 million and I have it on my account, I will not give you.
It is true.
No matter how it is going to benefit you.
It is true.
Because if you cannot be trusted on small things, it is biblical. You cannot be trusted either on big things.
It is true.
So youth are not trustworthy. You will discover that government came up with a number of programs directed to the youth, completely, and also to the youth, like the Youth Livelihood Program. You know why the government slowly eradicates the program? It is because most of the beneficiaries were not trustworthy. So if you're not trustworthy, and this is money which comes at a very minor interest rate, and you cannot be trusted on that, how will a bank trust you?
It is true.
How will a bigger financial institution trust you? How will the Central Microfinance Lending Board trust you? So once you're not trustworthy, you lose out opportunities, and in the end, relating to our topic today, there are higher chances of the standards of living remaining small. Now there is, relating to trustworthy, even if you begin up a business, some of us who are in business, I can make an order in Kampala when I don't have money.
Yes.
When I don't have money, they send me the products. When products come and I realize the money I send, now take a photo, take a pic, you have received products, and you are this kind of a person who doesn't want to pay. You will not last longer.
It is actually
Yesterday
very
I
true.
was looking at how worship the deputy mayor Masindi municipality, quarreling with a certain youth in Kila. She sent over 1.5 to get chicks and the marshes. That was last year, not only in December.
Yes.
In October there. Up to now, she has not yet gotten. And the person was replying, I had some issues.
This one.
Who is concerned about your issues when I've given you my money to supply me?
It is true.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
Trustworthy. So when such kind of a person loses clients, begins lamenting, they have bewitched me,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have
yeah.
done ABCD. So at the end of the day, the standard of living will deteriorate because you don't know the person who sent you the money. At the end of the day, this person is connected. They track you, they get you, they imprison you.
It is
At the end of the day, it was 1.5, you have spent in 5 million. So completely the standard of living will deteriorate beyond even where you
It
are.
is true.
Why? Trustworthiness. Are you getting me?
I'm getting the point.
Then bragging.
By the way, it's very true. You've talked about trustworthy and something so crucial that I'm actually getting to see. And that point that you're coming about is also actually very crucial that I'm seeing in news. There is that kind of bragging that has actually come out, and it's one of the issues that actually hindering the youth.
Yes.
You know, when you brag, there is no way you can get better
Now,
opportunities.
when we go to bragging, once you are good at bragging, everybody will always see you in a picture of a muyaye.
It is true.
Nobody will entrust you to give you an opportunity.
It is true.
Like, I always solicit for employees at my place. But even if they brought you when I know you are good at bragging, you are good at show-offs, I will not employ you. Because I know you will brag over my customers.
It is true.
You begin showing off when a customer comes, which will scare away
The customer.
customers. So once you are a characteristic within those, trust me, it is one of the biggest problem that it will be too hard for you to transform your life.
It is true. And of course, viewers of Elkem TV, thanks for being on set wherever is watching right now. I actually appreciate you for being on Elkem TV. Today, that's the topic. We're trying to look at how can we improve the lives of the youth financially, or actually in everything. So meanwhile, that has been the male youth counselor trying to actually have his submission towards the causes that has led to a reduction or poverty, increased poverty in youth, or actually that has led to much failure in that we are now failures. There is nothing that most of the youth can do for themselves. And today we are trying to navigate and look into how we can simply improve this. Meanwhile, that has been the causes, and I'm so sure that you've had a lot of things. All I implore you people that are watching Elkem TV right now, let's try to adjust. Where we see that there is a challenge, we try to adjust for the betterment of we other people. Meanwhile, away from there, we're getting back into to our today's topic of discussion. Kangao, before the male youth counselor came in, we actually were heading to something, so maybe to a real topic of discussion today. So briefly, I want us to look at what should the youth do after having looked at those causes. We want us to look at what should the youth do today, say that we improve on our standards of living, so that we can also have some money. We can also, so that we can also be good in communities. In that when you have money, you don't have money today, there is nothing good you can ever enjoy in this world. Understand? So strictly, I want us to look on the causes. May you have us to submission, and we proceed.
One of the biggest things that I think can act as a big change causer is helping the youth to cultivate the culture of reading. The reading culture is still a big problem that most of us don't have actually.
That is true.
And yet, most of the wisdom is actually hidden in books. When you read books, it helps you to associate with people that you would otherwise find impossible to associate with one-on-one. Some of them have even died with all the experience, but they have documented most of these things. Like for example, for someone who is a youth and would love to start reading books, how about thinking of reading books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad? This is a book that is intended to help any young person to get to know about business, to get to know things you should avoid, to get to know things you must do. It was written by Robert Kiyosaki. It's one of my favorites that I started with myself. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a very nice book for all starters who want to fall into the reading culture. But he has also written many other books, like for example, Who Took My Money, Business of the 21st Century, Why We Want You to Be Rich. He made a partnership with Donald Trump. In these books, he helps us to understand why it is important and how to develop ourselves as youths. How can we become more useful? Like just one point that I still remember that he highlighted in one of those books. He says that if a youth wants to develop, first of all, you must fall into the culture of avoiding spending your monies on liabilities. Invest your monies on assets. Now, as Honorable Jackson has mentioned,
Yes.
I heard that when youths we get money, we don't know where to put our money.
It is true. It is
We rush to spend our monies on liabilities. Any liability. Liability means you spend your money on anything which doesn't add more money on your pocket. It just takes away. Like for example, If a youth was to get lots of monies, the first thing is perhaps to buy a fancy car, perhaps to go for the latest smartphone. And what is he going to use it for? Not for business, but just again to show off.
That's true.
Then again he will continue spending on that phone. It will drop on the ground as a new screen guard. You have to go to Kampala. So everything we buy just keeps on taking away from our pockets. In one of those books, he says we should reverse that. We should focus on spending our monies on assets. If you're to go for a phone, perhaps go and buy a phone, but maybe go and use it for mobile money business. That way it will become an asset because it is making you money.
It is true.
Every day. So falling into the reading culture, I would strongly advise every youth to try this kind of habit. The other thing also is to try and be religious. You know, this stage of being a youth, it's a transition from childhood to adulthood.
Excuse me. Possibly before he can go religious on his second point, I would like us to add something on the reading culture.
Which is fine.
When you read something, can you please try your best to implement?
Yeah, it's actually very important.
Because the most important side of knowledge is implementing it.
Yeah.
When you read, don't think that you're going to read and after reading money you will find in.
That is true. It is
Can you go an extra mile
and
of
implement?
implementing?
That is very true.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the submission.
Yeah. So when as I was saying that this youthful stage is a transition from childhood to adulthood. So there is a lot of confusion in this stage of transition.
It is true.
It's a stage of inexperience. It's a stage of temptation. It's the stage of experiments. So
a lot of things.
A lot of things.
Yes.
So for most of the youths that have decided to embrace God, to love God, to get absorbed into religious activities in this stage, most of them have emerged this stage successful without very tormenting experiences that they later regret in life. Like for example, for the Muslims, there are even moments like maybe Ramadan, where it's a dedicated month for fasting.
For fasting, yes.
And at least all youths know that during that month it's a break from sins.
It is true. It is true.
So I would seriously recommend people to really go religious. Let them participate in crusades. Let them participate in the fasting. Let them participate in the preaching work.
Yes.
Let them read the Bible, the Quran. Let them read about those 10 commandments. Let them apply them, as Jackson has already said.
Yes.
That can seriously improve on our standard of living.
It is true.
And then the other one also would be to cultivate our talents. You know, Mr. Moderator, all of us, I believe God has created each one of us with a talent.
With a talent.
So the only job now we have to do is to try and find what am I talented in. Like for example, I've seen some that have really gone on top of the world through sports.
It is true.
We have a person like Joshua Cheptegei. Long time ago, you do travel outside Uganda, and then people don't know. You say, where are you from? I'm from Uganda. They don't know Uganda. Where is it?
It is true.
Which continent is it? And then you have to try and struggle to explain that, oh, do you still remember Idi Amin? Say, oh, yeah. He even gets shocked. It's as if you are another Idi Amin.
It is true.
But you know, through sports, now the picture of Uganda has now been changing. Now if you say, do you know Joshua Cheptegei? Joshua Cheptegei, they say, oh, these 10,000 marathon runners, yes. Through sports.
You're trying to put the image of the country on the globe.
Absolutely. And young men are making lots of monies, crazy monies through sports.
It is true.
You hear of the Ronaldos, the Messis. It is through sports.
It is true.
So it is a matter of us trying to find where am I talented in.
It is true.
We shall run on top of this world if we try that.
So thank you very much for the beautiful submission, Mr. Kangao, and actually whoever is watching us on Elkem TV. I appreciate you. Thanks for being on set. Thanks for loving the show. Thanks for always keeping tuned. Meanwhile, that has been Kangao. He has actually talked on a couple of things that all I implore you guys is implementing. You know, we actually get a lot of ideologies right from these kind of shows, but the most crucial thing is that let's try our best to implement what we actually get from our different minds. Meanwhile, away from that, just allow me move to my next guest, the madam actually representing the women to the set. Meanwhile, Madam Doreen, thanks for coming onto the show once again, and I employ you to have your submission towards our today's topic of discussion.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. One cause, one reason to, what we should do to improve on our standard of living, we youth tend to have this mentality of overlooking jobs.
Overlooking jobs, yeah, it's very crucial.
You get out of school, you're like, what I need a white collar job. I need to sit in front of a computer and just be there.
That is true.
Yet, we can look for these other jobs, maybe for example, making chapatis on our streets at home,
Yes.
roasting the maize, roasting the meat, making chips. Such things, they can really improve our standard of living. So we shouldn't really overlook jobs.
It is true, and people are getting a lot of money out of these businesses, or people are undermining. Find that every day people are not idle from this small business. Somebody is surviving rather than staying there idle, waiting for white-collar jobs that are not there. That's a good submission, madam.
Exactly. And the second reason, use of internet. This world has really developed. Technologies everywhere.
Very true.
Almost all youths have smartphones. They are connected to the internet. Instead of using our internet maybe to go on Facebook, we have TikTok. Use it in a good way. Learn a skill. You learn a skill, as Mr. Kangao said, try to implement it. For the girl child, you can learn maybe makeup. Get some small money. Start your makeup business, maybe at home with your friend. Please come, let me do you makeup. By that, your friend will go and tell another friend, oh, so and so, maybe Doreen made my makeup.
Get customers.
You get customers through that way. And also YouTube. You start a YouTube channel. You hit a certain target, and then YouTube will start paying you. So we youth really need to use our internet very well.
That is actually very true when you talk about internet. Today, if you look at the highest population that is devoted to internet, are basically the youth. And if you find the content that is explored or put on internet, there is no way it's actually empowering or developing the youth. Only that you find them people doing funny things on internet. But out of the topic, it's actually very beautiful. And whoever is watching Elkem TV right now, I implore you that other people that have gotten internet or social media platforms, I implore, let us try to use these things fairly. Let's use them in a good way or in a good ways that we can actually gain out of them. Rather than getting there, you waste your data, you do a lot of nonsense out of internet. So it's not actually good. People are making money out of these social media platforms. People are advertising their businesses. You find that he's getting customers through these social media platforms, but instead you find somebody posting funny videos, which has no way it will develop the use. Thank you very much. I just love it.
You're welcome.
Actually, add something on that. When she talked about that idea there, I remembered one of my colleagues. You see, I've been somebody who grew up in mind when I'm still early. And I'm this kind of a person who has been trying to inspire more youth. I had a colleague, he had a router at home. He had good phone at home. He had a computer at home. So whenever you'd reach his room, you'd just feel like you're in an IT house. So I told him, now, do you know what? I've given you 1 month to have opened up either an IT office or a stationery where you can always do typing and printing. If you don't implement, I will come and take this computer away because you don't know how to use it. In the first month, he didn't do anything.
Just for fun at home.
Yes,
playing
he can
videos.
play music and much of the time during the day is not home. He will be there in the evening to enjoy because during the day he's also employed somewhere. The second month I came and picked the CPU because I knew if I take the monitor, he can easily get a monitor. I took the CPU. But now when you reach around town, we are doing too much better.
That is true.
Too much better because he has a stationery. Actually, when he got determined, he told me, okay, can we begin? Now I'm set and determined.
That's some good ideology.
He told me I need some electrical gadgets that would help in the start. I gave him everything, and when you reach around town, he's doing very well. Very well. Actually, as I talk today, he has built a house and they are doing plastering.
That's nice.
And he had sat on the gadgets, and this is the point she's bringing.
It is very true, Mr. Jackson. There is a state where you find people have gotten money, but they don't know how to use it. They have gotten gadgets, they have gotten things from which these people can get money, and some big sums of money, only that they don't know where to start. They don't have that mentality of actually using these things to gather money. I think, Madame Doreen, you can proceed.
Okay. Then how we can also improve on our standard of living, we need to avoid harmful habits. For example, smoking, over drinking, eating of marijuana. You tend to find a group of boys, men,
A gang of
youths,
people, yes.
busy chewing marijuana. They come to shops, they want this big G. They want big G for what? For adding to chew the marijuana. And then we now have this shisha.
And these are the people that you find at night giving people restless nights.
Exactly.
And when they pick that money from there, they use it to buy these the big G's. Yes, to chew their leaves and whatever, and taking opium, which is not productive indeed.
Yeah. So if they avoid that, they'll be able to improve on their health, knowing that if you continue smoking, we have lung cancer. Definitely you'll get it. They have to take you to Mulago Cancer Institute, then that is very, very expensive.
Very expensive. By the way, our viewers of Elkem TV, I want actually to talk about smoking. It is something so funny that you find the people that are educated, the people that are explored, the people that know a lot of things, and on these papers of cigarette, they always advise them not to take it. It causes cancer. But funnily, you find somebody buying it, consuming it when he already knows. And then tomorrow, when you suffer from cancer, you start lamenting that the government has not done enough.
Yeah.
You understand? But let's try to adjust where it's needed. Maybe before we proceed, allow me first take you into a short break, and then when we return, we shall begin from where we have stopped. Don't move away. Stay tuned.
to Urban Massage Parlor and Spa. Dear customers, we are now open.
Massage is the practice of kneading or manipulating a person's muscles and other soft tissue in order to improve their well-being or health. It is a form of manual therapy that includes holding, moving, and applying pressure to the muscles, tendons, ligaments, and fascia. And at Urban Massage Parlor, we do this at an affordable price.
Now viewers of Elkem TV, welcome back from that commercial break. As I told you today, my name is Urban Brown, the host of this particular show entitled Youth Connect. Today we are here and with my guest in the house trying to navigate on how we can actually improve on the standards of the youth living. Meanwhile, today we have actually talked onto a couple of things, and before we got into our break, we're still proceeding. But before we get there, just allow me to remind you that to join us onto the show, get onto YouTube, type the word Elkem TV, subscribe, and put on that bell so that we can simply keep in touch on all the shows that are actually be coming up all time after time. Meanwhile, before we got into the break, as I told you, we were still proceeding with our show, and let me get to the male youth counselor. The male youth counselor, may I have your, just in 2 minutes, have your submission onto this particular topic, and then we see what we can step forward to.
Okay, thank you once again. When it comes to improving somebody's standard of living, in the very first place, I always say, this person must be interested to improve on the way that person is living.
That is true.
Because it is very simple to take a bull to the stream to take water. The stream to take water, but it is very difficult for you to force it. So
that's very true.
Sometimes I've lived a life where I ask myself, some individuals, does this person think about the word development? If yes, in which perception? So the love and passion for one to first feel like I want to change my standard of living, that alone will ignite that person to solicit from the causes of the poor standard of living that we outlined, to see, oh, they said bragging, untrustworthiness. What I'm trying to say, you will be checking yourself. So, however, this other one I must put is, as I was talking about books to read, there is a book that says begin with what you have. Begin with what you have. And when you look at the book that he talked about, Poor Dad, Rich Dad, that book talks about fear as one of the causes why people have failed to make a step.
It is true.
You see, there is a saying that goes that it is always too hard to start. Why? Because of fear. So begin with what you have. like a simple former Jackson who started with 165,000 Ugandan shillings as running capital. Today in millions of business. I started with what I had. I didn't fear what would people say. How would they comment
It is
on
true.
me? In simple terms, people have got opportunities. If you don't have the 165, trust me, God has given you energy. We have talked about opportunity discrimination. Use the energy not to segregate about the available opportunity. I once worked in a school and they paid me 65,000 a month. Use the energy, exploit the opportunity which is available. There is one day when I saw a gentleman, a certain truck, Sino truck, they wanted to change the tire. They told the two gentlemen, come, we go, you remove the tire, I give you 40,000. I didn't know that it is even going to be that much. These are gentlemen who were youth, idle. They refused. I said, what an opportunity. Removing that tire may take at most 2 hours. They refused the opportunity. They cannot work away in an environment which is
discrimination
dirty.
of jobs.
And they remained complaining. You don't know where the vehicle has passed. It has stepped in what? I was imagining.
It's true.
So use the energy. That is an opportunity that you already
It is
have.
true. It is
you have
true.
an opportunity that you're live and kicking. You have energy. Exploit an opportunity which is available. Let it act as a stepping stone. Get the little money. Be a target worker if you want to go very far. Rich poor dad, rich dad. It will show you this was a target worker. He knew where he was going. Be a target worker. This is why I left paid employment. Actually, my base of living paid employment was after reading my Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. The moment I read that book, I said I'm wasting a lot of time. And there is another thing I wouldn't like to talk about it because it is government project. When you have my 4 million somewhere with you and you tell me every year you will give me 10% or 11 or 12, I feel you're wasting my money with you. You'd rather give me my 4 million, I use my brain to be creative and make sure it multiplies possible at that rate per month, which will go to 100% a year.
Yes.
But I want to appreciate still this government. There are people who have got a high liquidity preference that they would prefer every time to keep checking money. Hey, it is here, okay. And these are most of the youth.
It is, yes,
they
yes,
have
yes.
a very high liquidity preference. He wants to move when the behind pocket is full of 50,000 notes. Every time he feels like he can touch and this is my money. Instead of putting it somewhere such that it can
invest, it can multiply.
You get it? The multiplier effect of keeping money in the pocket is zero. You would rather put it somewhere
true.
such that it multiplies.
That's very true. And once again, allow me appreciate you, the viewers of Elkem TV. My name is Aban Brown Otoda. Say the Youth Connect show actually set on Tuesday from the hours of 2 to the hour 3. Today we are navigating onto how the youth can actually improve their standards of living. We have talked onto a couple of things. So it is either we or you to implement what has actually been discussed. The ideologies that have been explored, you are the one that is watching Elkem TV. Once again, I appreciate you for staying tuned. You know, Mr. Jackson, as I'm seeing time is against, it's not our best ally, it's against us. I employ you, into our country, Uganda. I've gotten an opportunity in that there are a number of actually projects that actually the government has put in place to support the youth development. Basically, as a leader that is representing the youth of the district, I want you to have a hint in 2 of these left minutes about those particular programs. How can the youth that are there, that are willing to develop themselves, access these services?
So in the very first place, it is against us. One, youth outside there, I've always said and I will continue saying, we need to work as a team because the government of today is operating in teamwork. You form groups. Good enough, they say a minimum of 5 members. Now, like when you look at the staff of Elkem, I like it because it comprises of a number of youths. So I don't think that we are less than 10. You get? So that one is already a group. You get it? So youth operate in groups. Once you're in groups, you're going to shoot a number of opportunities. We have got the youth livelihood program. We have got the parish development model where the youth are covering 30% of the funds. When you hear they have released 100 million, just know the 30 million directly are going to the pocket of the youth. And from there we have got the community association model, parish community association model. Monies are there to some of the parishes. That is the parish community association model. The other one is PDM. This one is PCA. You get it? These are two different projects. Then we have got that one. I've talked about it, the youth livelihood program. I've talked about there is a Mioga.
Yes.
There is a Mioga. Youth must go in for Mioga. We have got the Youth Capital Venture Fund.
Yes.
In Centenary Bank at 11%, not per annum, but 11%. The youth, you decide which period can you manage to pay back. Are you getting it? What is important is that Centenary Bank helps on behalf of government of Uganda to monitor these funds.
Okay.
So we have got this current one, very current, not even 4 years old. This is the small business COVID relief fund in the Postal Bank, where youth can take up the opportunity at 10% per annum. When you take 10 million, at the end of the year you pay back a total of 10,500,000. You can imagine 10 million, a profit of only 500, because it is on reducing balance.
Yes.
So when you pay as per the program, you will have paid back a total of 10,500,000. So there are very many opportunities. The only difference is that as youth, most of the programs are for groups.
It is
when
true.
you look at small business, COVID relief fund, that one is you can gather as an individual for as long as you
Maybe Mr. Jackson, I want you to highlight us about the COVID relief fund. How can one simply access those funds?
When you want a COVID relief fund, you move into Postal Bank. You must be having an account with them, and another thing, you must be having at least a business, and this business must be making less than 100 million sales a year. Less. You get that all businesses making sales less than 100 million, they are being considered as small business. You could be having this business which is making only 1 million a year. It is small. Now you could be having that makes 20 million. You don't say, mine is big, I think I don't qualify. For as long as you're making less than 100 million, you qualify to go for this COVID.
So, Mr. Jackson, it's like I see this one being for the rich people.
Not really. What we are trying to enlighten our youth here is they must begin something small. We are not telling youth to begin big things, because we know we are hand captive. We don't have the capacity. Are you getting it?
Yes.
So for those who have already tried to begin something small, we are seeing how do they improve from small to big. Are you getting me? It doesn't mean that those who have started, they are already rich. So we are looking for opportunities. How do they improve the standards of living? So we are giving them opportunities. You have got a small business, you have your mobile money, run it to Centenary Bank. You acquire a youth capital venture fund, they add you like 1 million, doesn't need any mortgage. You go and operate.
That's right.
Are you getting it?
So briefly, Mr. Jackson, time is not on our side. Just in a minute, I implore you to tell us the requirements in case one wanted to access the services. There is one you've said is for the group, and what are the requirements? And as an individual, what are the requirements want to access the services?
Now, for the group, it needs a well-registered group. well registered from the government. Period, you apply and you will get it.
In case somebody needs help,
for example, when you need a mioga, you join a certain mioga circle. In the mioga circle, you will apply and you will get that money.
Okay.
So for these ones in banking institutions, these financial institutions, you need one to have an account with them. Then the other thing, you need 2 guarantors. That is always the procedure. Like when it is a group, the group members are the guarantors. But when you are in a bank, you need 2 guarantors. These people must be having accounts in the institution. You get it? So the other thing, you must be having an operating business. You don't go for this product when you don't have a business.
It is true.
Because these are all for daily earning persons.
Okay, that's a very good of viewers of Elkem TV that has stayed tuned to the show. I once again appreciate you. Thanks for being good viewers. As we usher onto as we come to the end of our show, I actually employ Mr. Jackson as you're giving out your last submissions. I employ to also read out your number in that in case there is any youth that is actually interested in these government programs, can simply interact with you, see the way you can help out. Meanwhile, into these last minutes, I employ you just to have your last words for the viewers and we sign out of here.
Yes, what I want to say to our viewers outside there, please, I implore you to work hard, avoid discriminating opportunities, and begin with whatever small thing you have. You can begin with your energy, you lay bricks, and from bricks you will go to some other level. My contact, you can contact me for more entrepreneurship information, but also for more information on these government opportunities. 0785 83 10 20. I want to say thank you. Contact me even when you have other problems.
Once again, thank you very much, Mr. Jackson, for coming through and being on set on Elkem TV. Madame Doreen, briefly employed, just have your last words for the viewers of Elkem TV.
Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity to be here. My fellow youth outside there, the way we saw, we really need to work hard, avoid overlooking jobs, do whatever you have, use the internet wisely, advertise yourself through TikTok, through YouTube, and everything will be fine. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Madame Doreen, for actually coming through on Elkem TV and actually having those beautiful words for the ladies, our sisters that have been watching on Elkem TV. I'm so optimistic that actually pick up those ideologies and improve your standards of living. So I'm now moving to my professor, Mr. Kangao. I employ you to also have your last submission or your last words for the viewers of Elkem TV, and we sign out of here.
Yeah, thank you so much it was a very nice program. Thank you for the platform, and thank you so much, my fellow youths out there. If you have tried out something and you have fallen, don't remain on the ground. Wake up. We want you to be the next Amis Chugundu. We want you to be the next Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, or even more. Just keep going, and then the sky will be the limit.
Thank you very much for the beautiful actually submission and coming through onto Elkem TV. We appreciate you for the good ideologies that I've actually shared with our viewers of Elkem TV, and whoever's been watching, I actually appreciate you for loving Elkem TV and always being on set. Maybe before I sign out of here, I implore you to accept me, just take you through the comments, Mr. Producer, in case we have any comment. May I have the comments and actually read them for the viewers. Okay, that is it, and I only have one comment here. This is Emma from Kabalega FM Radio, says thanks Urban Brown for the show. Here is my submission. The youth should avoid gambling, betting. They should adopt the culture of saving. Stop despising jobs. Only a few start with better jobs. Avoid marrying early or even producing children early. It is it starts with us. So, meanwhile, thanks for the good submission, Emma, that has been tuned. One more time, thanks very much. I appreciate you, and this has been the show. Use Connect. Let's catch up next week. Wishing you the best. Thank you.